All right, welcome back into the show. Pumped up to have Jake Agnos joining us on the Pirate Radio Live Line, a last name that Pirate fans will remember and cherish forever with the services of Jake, and then later on his brother Zach. And love talking to the Agnoses, and we'll talk to the old lefty today. Jake joining us on the Pirate Radio Live Line. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Clip. I appreciate y'all having me on here.
Now, Jake, I don't want to freak you out, man, but I'm like Santa Claus. I see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake. I've got sources everywhere. I was told you had a dynamic bullpen earlier this week, and that was music to my ears because I know you have had some awful luck with injuries and things like that. But, Jake, tell us what you're up to now and health-wise and pitching-wise and everything you got going on.
Yeah, well, I first off want to say that I thought your little elf was Coach Godwin because I talked to him right before you sent me a text. Also, shout out Coach Godwin, happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Cliff Godwin doesn't tell me anything, Jake, so it'll never be Cliff Godwin.
Listen, even when I was at school, I was always the one kind of gossiping and all that. So, hey, if you need the information, you know you can come to me. But, yeah, so I got to Tampa last week. They brought me over kind of in the first wave of guys. They typically bring guys over in 3 waves. So fortunately, I was able to come in that first wave. You know, like you said, kind of, man, I mean, I was listening to the show a little bit before, and I heard you talk about, you know, getting a little misty-eyed when I walked off the NC State mound. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if the baseball gods just wanted me to, like, reminisce on that for a while or what, because they sure did deal me a pretty nasty hand with these injuries. But I am super grateful and blessed to say that, you know, we finally got things right. It took 3 surgeries, which was less than ideal. But no, it's been, you know, ever since this last surgery in February of 23, things have been going great, and really just thankful that the Yankees have given me this opportunity to kind of come back here and show them, you know, what I got.
Absolutely. I was about to bring that up, Jake. It's a two-way street. It says a lot about you, your toughness, your stick-to-itiveness, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to keep battling and try to come back from this thing. But it takes 2 to tango. A credit to the Yankees. They believe in you, but also shows, I guess, what kind of organization they are, Jake, sticking with you throughout all this. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, just top to bottom, just a class act organization. And, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the thing that rehab, you know, really does to a player. And I know to a lot of people it probably looks like it's just a game, but it really becomes your life as you move up. You know, I really got that taste when I got to Greenville, and it became more than just that, you know, 7 to 9 inning game that you were playing before. It became, you know, what you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. But yeah, I mean, the Yankees have really, really been great to me through, you know, taking care of me with the rehab, and all that encompasses that. You know, I look around and I see some guys with other organizations, and I can just tell that the Yankees do it right. And, yeah, I mean, I haven't been much on social media or anything like that. When I got my surgery, I kind of wanted to just really put my head down and get to work.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I thought I was only planning like a year of being quiet, but it's been going on, you know, 3 or 4 years. So, now I really, you know, I guess been tested these past couple of years between the surgeries and then, of course, losing my dad.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you know, the lessons that I learned at ECU and the habits that I created really, I think are the reason that, you know, I like to think when most guys would probably crumble and just say that it's not for them, you know, I've kind of stuck with it. So credit to Coach Godwin just for, you know, helping me get to this point and really, you know, allowing me to at least give myself a chance. You know, that's all I want is just a chance to show, you know, what I'm worth.
Man, yeah, that's awesome to hear. Jake Agnos joining us on the Pirate Radio Live Line. So, Jake, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but is the plan this year to pitch in games? Are you on track to be able to do that?
Yeah. So, you know, got surgery last February, and, you know, my first one was the Tommy John surgery, which was the big one, and then just had some complications with, as the way my doctor put it, I healed too well. Pretty much my arm just kept laying down scar tissue. So the last surgery in February, the third one, he decided to move the nerve, which really I think was making the biggest difference. So it's reacted well since then. I was cranking up in the fall, throwing bullpens and lives, and then actually there was a chance I was going to go down to Puerto Rico for winter ball, but things with that kind of fell through, and after talking with the guys who were taking care of me, it just seemed like it was the best option to get ready for spring and get ready to perform for the Yankees. So plan is to throw against batters next Saturday and continue to build up.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, all systems go on my end.
That's fantastic. Jake Agnos joining us. Jake, I love to talk to you and Zach about y'all's relationship. Typical brother relationship. You want to be the best. You want to beat him. You also support him and is his biggest fan. So were you kind of living vicariously through him? It was when he was having his tremendous season out of the bullpen in his first year in the minors last year.
Well, I'll tell you what. It low key eats me alive inside because, you know, my whole life, Zach was a position player. I was the pitcher, right? And now I find myself asking Zach more and more pitching questions.
Oh, no.
But I will say it was fun to watch Zach as much as I wish I was out there. I thoroughly enjoyed following Zach, and I think that's just kind of a testament to his abilities. But, yeah, I mean, super fun, super proud of what he did. You know, clearly that's just a step in the right direction, but fortunate enough to be able to spend my off season with him. So we're down in Jupiter every off season working out and having a good time. And you can ask my fiance; he definitely likes to get on my nerves, and we have that good old brotherly love. But it was, even though I've been away from the game for 3 to 4 years, it's always a tough goodbye. When you get back into that routine of like long distance stuff and being on the road and all that.
Yeah. Well, Jake, we got some new Bronx Bombers from ECU. Have you talked at all, or are you aware of Josh Groves, Josh Moylan? You talked to either of the Joshes that are new members of this Yankees organization?
Yeah, so I talked to Josh Groves. I say more than Josh Moylan just because he's a pitcher and we kind of deal with the same people. But super pumped to have them coming down. I think when I talked to Groves last, they'll be coming in within the next week or two down to Tampa. So super excited to get some familiar faces, because even though I've been with this org for so long, I feel like, I've just been away from the game a little bit, where a lot of these guys are new faces. But, yeah, I mean, just really glad. I think when I look at other organizations, the Cardinals had a lot of ECU guys. When I watched Packer with his Tigers buddies, like just a close-knit group of guys, and I'm excited to have some familiar faces and kind of create I think that's the toughest part of being away from the game for so long, is you miss really like the locker room stuff, the camaraderie of the game and all that, just as much as you miss the competition,
Well, how about Coach Bryant Packard? I've been hearing some great things from his fellow coaches and the Pirate players, what he's bringing to this East Carolina baseball program. And, man, just such a great hitter. He, too, as you know, Jake, had the just terrible luck with injuries even while he was at East Carolina. But now he's going to be a part of Cliff's staff, and so far so good from what I hear.
For sure, yeah. I talk to Pack all the time, but just hearing from other guys, it just seems like he's just a really good guy to have in the clubhouse. Just when you talk about a player's coach, I don't think anyone comes to mind more than Bryant Packard. But I will say, in all my 3 years at ECU, when living together and all that, I would just sit there and listen to him talk hitting and talk baseball, and just his knowledge of the game is something that I don't know if you can teach, because it's just so innate. And now I'm excited to see him. Unfortunately, he won't be rocking 18. I think he's number 51 or something like that. So a little bit of a different look, but just as much as I like to gossip, so does Packard, fortunately. So I get all the clubhouse scoop from him.
Nice. All right, good deal. Well, I'll just go to you then, and I'll to get all that insight. Skip Bryant and go right to you.
Something special.
Yeah, good deal.
That's something special brewing up.
Good stuff. Jake Agnos joining us. And Jake, once again, the Pirates, you probably see the polls come out on social media or whatever if you follow it, but East Carolina once again expected to be really good this year. Coming off the banquet where Gavin Williams said a few words. I understand the speech was pretty short, but Gavin talked at this year's banquet. How about his success in Major League Baseball? Of course, Connor Norby rising through the ranks, Carson Wisenhunt the same, but Gavin getting on the mound at the big stage, and man, he looked awesome last year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's no surprise that Gavin was a few words up on the podium. He's not.
He's not you.
I don't think he loves. No, well, I don't think he loves public speaking. But no, I'll tell you what. Whenever, luckily, my older brother lives in Raleigh, so whenever we're up there, I get to see Gavin. But just watching him and seeing him on MLB Network and talking to guys around the gym and all that, just talking and seeing that big Tonka truck up on the mound, it's just really I see comparisons to Garrett Cole, and none of it's shocking. I remember freshman year against UNC, maybe 1 1/3 inning, really decided to stress out the bullpen that weekend, and Gavin came in at the Durham Bulls and was 96 to 100, but the crazy part was he was out of the stretch, and he was under a second to the plate, which is crazy fast, but just a lot of body coming at you and plus stuff. So, it's no shock Gavin's where he is. We all saw that at ECU, and I think especially in that, I think it was the 2021 season, just incredible power stuff that can get guys out really at any level.
Talking to Jake Agnos here on the Pirate Radio Live Line. Great to hear your voice, Jake. And, we're still pulling for you around here. You obviously know that. And so what's kind of your day-to-day like now? How often are you throwing, and what's your schedule look like here these next few weeks?
Yeah, so we're really just starting to build up. Like I said, I'll get off the mound against hitters next Saturday. So throwing really... it's funny because I talk about how jealous I am of some other athletes, because pitching's really that sport or that position where, you're day in and day out having to do something, because it's not like you can take 2 weeks off, pick up a ball, and then, start throwing again. You really have to be meticulous about, what you're doing. And so from a day-to-day standpoint, complex times are pretty early, so I'll typically wake up around 7, head to the field. Like I said, another perk about the Yankees is having, chefs and all that in-house. And so we're able to get breakfast and lunch there. And then, depending on the day, go out and do a group stretch. And then I'm throwing off the mound twice a week. So typically Tuesday, Saturdays, getting off the bump. And just really, like I said, building up, getting ready for spring training games. But it's funny because even though this is my 5th year technically with the Yankees, it'll be my first full spring training, so I don't think I've gotten the first, the full taste of what spring training's all about.
And Jake, one more question. How do you get better when you're so far removed from, your last time pitching with all these injuries, all these surgeries? Do you try to think about adding a pitch? I'm sure you've got the mental toughness. You don't need to worry about that, the way you've stuck this thing out and fought through it. So how have you tried to improve despite not being able to get out there on the mound? What are the things you can do to do that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because I feel like the more you're removed from the game, kind of, like I said, it's harder and harder to imagine yourself capable to have success at, especially the professional level. But for me, we added a new pitch. I've been throwing a cutter, which has been great. Really been working on a splitter, which I worked on in Tampa in 22, and got it to a pretty good point. But the plan is to build me up as a starter, which is great. That's, something I've always loved to do, and thought that, one of my benefits was being able to face guys multiple times and not have them, make adjustments. But yeah, like you said, just the biggest thing I've wanted to come out of this rehab with is just the confidence that, hey, we're healthy now. I've been pitching and throwing with a lot of pain for a lot of years, a lot of my career. So just being fully pain-free, I think, is just, I know in college I was notorious for walking a batter or two, but I think that was the biggest sacrifice, with pitching and pain was not being able to, execute pitches as precisely as I wanted to. But, just hoping that by the time I do get on the mound pain-free, that all that, doubts and worries can kind of fly away, and I can just focus on competing, because I know when I'm healthy I could be, a good pitcher. But, no, like you're just talking about, it's hard, when you're so removed from the game, to keep yourself in the game.
Yeah.
So many little pieces, pickoffs, bunties, stuff like that. So just trying to stay sharp in that aspect, so when you do get back to pitching, it's not as big of a leap, you know.
Well, my dream is to see Jake Agnos pitch in a Yankee Stadium and just having a great performance, and Aaron Boone goes to take him out, and you argue with him like you did Cliff Godwin that one time.
Listen, I don't know on that level if I'll be able to have that much of a reaction like I did at ECU. It's funny, I was talking to Coach Palumbo. He was in Jupiter for the tournament, and we were sitting there talking with another guy, and he's asking about that story. And I tell my version, I just see Coach Palumbo kind of shaking his head. And I'm like, why are you shaking your head? He's like, you forgot a couple key pieces of information. So I think I might have been blackout during that because I really can't recall all the things that he was saying. But listen, if I'm in Yankee Stadium, you're up there, I'll make sure to give you one of those, tips of the cap one more time.
Oh, man. Goosebumps, Jake. Goosebumps. All right, buddy. Hey, great to catch up with you.
Last thing.
Yeah.
I see, Holt Naylor's got his own show. I was a little bit offended no one asked to do a Jake Agnos show. What are we doing here?
You kidding me? We're ready when you're ready. The Jake Agnos show would be just electric here on Pirate Radio. As much as you blabber and you gossip like you said, that everybody would tune into that.
That's what I'm saying. We're like double viewership. But did you say Zach's coming on later too?
We'll get him at some point this offseason. I don't have a plan, but yeah, I'll shoot him up. And if he knows you came on, he'll be like, oh, I got to go on that. He's got to top you. So, yeah, he'll be on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might as well have us do it like at the same time sometimes so we can just for people's entertainment. The hours will fly by on Pirate Radio.
We got to get Agnos on. That'd be fantastic. I'll put that in the books.
Segment.
Jake, thanks so much, buddy. Good luck, man. We're all pulling for you.
All right, guys, I appreciate you having me on. You take care.
Man, those Agnoses are legendary. Awesome to talk to. Awesome on the field, and just so cool that Jake's still going after it, and the Yankees are sticking with him. So we're hoping to see him pitch